Good morning, everyone. I'm doing okay, Mike. How are you? I'm in my childhood home in Minnesota, which is why you see sun hitting me. We don't have the sun in Boston if you looked only at my videos. Sun feels good. Wasting some time listening to my dialogues is a waste of time. No, wasting time is good. Hello, Mighty. Today, I might need to do some actual work. So, Mike, what is your oldest pen that you own? Mike's oldest pen is what? Mike's oldest pen is what? In the 30s? You don't have any hard rubber pens from the 20s yet? moving slowly back in time. Couple of swans. Yeah, they're all good. Those early ones. Do you like older better than newer these days? Or are you mixed? Yeah. Well, Old Flex is good. That's for sure. Would you like to come on and join us, Mike? Talk face to face? I was giving sort of lessons yesterday for the first time in ever. And it was fun to see whether people seemed to think they were of value. I need to get an iPad here to do a drawing. If I suddenly see something I want to draw. One of the things I'm doing here is drawing this house because it may end up being sold in the coming year. And I'm trying to figure out a way to I'm trying to document things that I like here. And it's generally not things, it's more an atmosphere or something of light and dark and stuff. So there's the light is coming through the windows here in front of me, and the angle of there's sort of a forest of chairs that are seen in the corner here, and it's almost like a landscape of canyons and stuff. Who the fuck knows what I'm talking about? But I've drawn this a couple of times before, and it's going to be nice to maybe see the differences from one drawing to another. Anyone still listening to me? Maybe they're listening, but I've been, of course, admiring and looking at the paintings of John Singer Sargent, and there was one that I saw today posted on a, whatever you call it, group, Instagram group. And it's just this dark interior of a dining room. There's a dining room table and hutch, a cabinet, a china cabinet. And in the china cabinet is china, Japanese china. And it's just amazing how little information one needs to include to convey the idea of China. So here's this chair in the, can I even see what I'm doing here? There's a chair that's covered in coats, ski jackets that I'm drawing, and that's in the background, and just this heap of stuff. And below that are the legs, and below that is the carpeting. And in a second, when I'm done with what I'm doing, I'm going to, I sort of think of Star Trek TV show where they shoot off the photon torpedoes, and it's the photons that I'm shooting at this thing that will eventually make it all work. Right now, it's just a glob. A glob. But was it you, Mike, that likes the sound of, not the sound of my voice necessarily, but the sound of the pen? There's some people that have this ASMR reaction to my dialogues with respect to the pen and the soothing voice and the sound of the pen scratching. Okay, I'm doing the photon torpedoes now. It's going to go choo, 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 choo. So get ready. Hmm? It's a big bright spot right there. Yeah, scratchy nibs are, well, you're writing. It's it's like you like lumpy potatoes, I bet too, Mike. You like, I'll tell you what else you like. I'm gonna guess what else you like. You like a standard shift car over an automatic, and you like what else do you like? What else can I guess that you like? Yeah, you like that, don't you, boy? Okay, yep, on that one. You like. This is a hard one, but I'm going to say it anyway because I know there's some people, and I don't know you well enough, Mike, to know whether you're one of these people that is keen on this or not. But I'm going to make a guess. No, I don't know if I can. I don't know if I know the answer to this one. But for me, the sound of a 2-cylinder leaf blower is just disgustingly vile, whereas the sound of a rake is actually quite soothing. But I know that there's some guys out there, and you're a guy, I think, and there's some guys out there that have this desire to make noise with a machine. Are you one of those make noise with a machine kind of guys, or are you the soothing rake kind of guy? I'll tell you the right answer when you're done telling me what you think. I hate the sound of those little whirring vacuum cleaner like. I hate vacuum cleaners as well because of the noise they make. I much rather use a broom and sweep up the dust and push it all over my house and stuff like that than. There's a little bit of red here, and I don't know where that's coming from, but it's right there. And there's a little bit of red on this chair. Just a little bit that you see. And there's the legs over there. So I once did a drawing of in this room last time I was here, whenever that was, pre-COVID, where I drew the sunlight moving across the floor and changing the shadows because it was moving so fast. Yeah, I mean, it's when I watched a guy when I was on jury duty, the last time I was on jury duty, the second and hopefully last, but when I was on jury duty, there was outside the courtroom, there was a parking lot. It was a weird courthouse. The courthouse is in a shopping mall of all places, and next to a shopping mall, and very modern sort of building. Not, the thing with columns and pillars and stuff that you normally expect a courthouse to have. And outside in the parking lot, there was a guy with a leaf blower blowing leaves, and there was one leaf that he could not get, and he just kept on blowing it and blowing it and blowing it and blowing it. And just go over and pick the fucking thing up. God, how difficult is it? And sometimes it really just drives me nuts that the machine, even though it does get the job done, it doesn't really get the job done all that much faster in some cases than just using your big old fingers. But the sound of a rake is really it's rather soothing, I think. And okay, I think I'm done with this one. Export. Sketch. Okay. God damn it. My pencil now, when I use my pencil to tap something, when I'm going to write something, it thinks I'm drawing on it and it turns things into type. So I need to disable that somehow. Title, warning, photons, TONS. Warning, photons, upload. Hey, Melissa. How's your, it was fun teaching yesterday. I mean, I haven't really taught in years, um, but um, it was fun sort of thinking about how to create lessons, that exercises that you could benefit from. Can we post this in? What am I trying to do? Trying to upload something to Instagram, and I got distracted by pictures of naked men. I know, I know, I know. I'm just typing with my with a guy that bought some pens from me in Philadelphia, a talented calligrapher, and just inviting him to join us if he'd like. But he probably has real jobs and all that kind of stuff. This guy is a lefty. So what else are people up to today? Melissa, if I brought with me a flexible nibbed pen that you could try out and buy, would that be something you'd like me to send you? And where are you? Illinois, Ohio, Michigan. I probably have one that I have here that I can sell. I also have one here I could send you for you to try out. I didn't bring a lot with me. Um, well, nails are not bad. When you want to build a house, you need a nail. Um, they do exactly what they're meant to do, which is to make a line. They're not. It's not a sexy line they make, but it doesn't need to be a sexy line. But why don't you text me on Instagram and um, maybe I can find one here and send you one. Uh, and it might be for sale. I do have an Eversharp Skyline that um, has one minor flaw, if you call it a flaw. It just has a slight bend to it that happened somewhere in its life. And but it's because it wasn't a pen that I owned until recently. It was a pen I was trying to sell for someone else. And I sold all of them except for that one, and he gave me new pens to sell for him. And I just, rather than giving that one back, I just pretended I sold it. And I also liked it a lot. I was using it. Um, are you going to work today?
Huh?
Are you going to work today? Yes?
Yeah. You. What are you gonna do?
Well, I'm going to quickly send off fix a drawing on my iPad that I made for this client. And eventually she wants me to do a watercolor of it. But my plan is to do the watercolor just in grayscale and add the color later, because I know they're going to say, well, this isn't pink enough. This is too pink. This is too yellow. And I can tweak all of that in Photoshop.
I see.
But I just wanted to, they're showing a picture of a bunch of flowers that show they're watercolors. So there's some areas that are very, very pale.
Yeah.
So you can, see the dimensionality, but the flowers she wants are all very dense and dark.
Huh.
And they go from burgundy to black without anything lighter than dark burgundy.
Huh.
And I just have a feeling that at the end of the day, they're going to say, why does this look so dark? And I said, because you told me to make it dark, you bitch.
Huh.
So that's what I'm going to do. And if they're happy with it, then I'm going to find some watercolor paper here. I'm sure there's some. And yeah, I better leave that turned off rather than starting a fire. I mean, could that come down completely and just the answer is yes, it can come down completely. So it could be rewired and put back. Hey, Cash. It's not going to be one of the whoop-de-doo ones, no. I'll show it to you. In fact, is it in my pocket? It is. No, it is not in my pocket. This one right here, the Skyline. What's your last name, Melissa? You don't have to tell me. We're on live. Melissa Smith. It's not, it's a nice rubbery nib that some weird paper here. The fine isn't excruciatingly fine, but it has this range. Now, Mike, you'll learn that if you buy a Skyline, the Skyline is a pen that when you buy them in the field randomly, you're going to have completely random nibs. Some are going to be hard, some are going to be fine, some are going to be blunt and hard, some are going to be flexible, some will be fine flexible. They made so many different kinds of nibs during this time when they made this pen, and it seems like they made exactly the same number of each of the different kinds of nibs and put them in a pen, in pens, because they're all so different. I never know what I'm going to see when I uncap one of these. If it's a Waterman, it's almost always somewhat flexible. If it's a Schaefer, it's almost always firm. So this kind of a pen, you know, when you buy one in the field or see one at a pen show, you uncap the nib and it's just a crapshoot. They're all great nibs, but you just have no idea of knowing what's going to be under it. So I love these pens I mainly sell pens like these to sketchers and artists, sometimes to calligraphers, sometimes to general writers, but these are really great because they're very rounded. The points are very rounded, so you can sort of push them around easily. They don't snag on papers and stuff like that. And they're sort of sturdier than a Waterman. Waterman nibs are a little bit flimsier. You have to be just a little tiny bit more careful. And artists who are sketching sometimes aren't. So the flaw with this pen, Melissa, I don't know if you can see, but there's a little bit of a curve, banana shape going on here. For some reason, this has, right in this area right here, it sort of bends up. Now it's bending down. You can't really see it. It's a flaw that a pen collector might say, oh gee, your pen is warped. Yeah, whatever. We're all a little warped, but it won't bother the way the pen writes. And again, it's a flexible nib pen that I know 99% that you won't break. Whereas if it was a Waterman flexible nib, they're just a little tiny bit more flexible, more fragile. And that percentage, I know that you're very careful with your pens, you're not going to break them, but this is a good starter pen for learning how to do the thick and thin lines, because you really can see the difference. The difference is very apparent. Yeah, I mean, a Skyline pen. Rob Morrison sold a Skyline pen for $300 a year ago on eBay. I mean, that's what the bid went to because it had an excruciatingly fine, flexible nib. And I thought, oh my God, that's like $200 more than I would have thought it would go on eBay. But he knows how to sell those flexible nibs. $330, I think it went for. And it was crazy. But if I tried that nib out and if I had that pen in my little hand right now instead of this one, I might say, oh my God, I'm not going to sell this for any amount of money. I'm keeping it. So, but this is a yummy flexi-ish nib on it, and I think that this would be a good one, Melissa, for you to try your things. And somewhere down the line, you know, you can go to step 2. This is a perfectly good pen. If this was the only pen I had in my life, I would be happy. Happy-ish. No, it's a very good. You can do pretty good calligraphy with it. Again, it's missing that really, really fine knit part of it, but it's really good for sketching. And since I tend to do more drawing than I do anything else these days, it's good. So let me tell you in an Instagram message, take a picture of this and tell you what it costs. And if I were in Boston and I said it costs X dollars, and you said, well, that's a little too much. And then I said, well, I can take the nib out and put the nib in a plain black pen where this is black. And the black pen has teeth marks down here. It'll be less. But I don't have all of my parts here. So, but I'm thinking it's like a $75 pen, something like that. And I know it's not 3 for $25 or whatever you were buying your steel nibs for, but again, I think it's a nice, yummy nib, or $75 for a pen for $75. If it didn't have this little warpy thing going on, it would be another 15 or so. So, but again, I think you could buy any modern pen for 3 times $75 and not get a nib that's even close to being as good as this one. What do you think, Mike? Okay, what? Well, this is a good one that is the expense, like $60 of the value of this pen is in the nib. And I'm sort of adding the, a 60. If this nib were in a sort of beat up version of this pen, it would be $60. It would be a working pen, and if the nib were firm and unexpressive, it would be $50. So the gold content in this nib itself, if I were to scrap it, is about maybe $30. I know that the smaller, I don't know what the gold prices are now, but so, I'm not, for me, when people say expensive pen, it's hard to know what they mean by that. But, um, no gold nib pen can be bought for 3 of them for $25 unless you go to the flea market and spend hours looking for one. But in in a world where someone is selling you something, as I am, I know that you're not complaining about the price, or I hope you're not, but I'm still sort of defending why I'm charging what I did, and I'm also trying to say that um, there are so many ways to, like, I bought a pen like this from Rob Morrison at a pen show. It was exactly this pen, except it had a really, really flexible nib on it. And he sold me this pen for $285. Now, he did not hold a gun to my head. I paid that much willingly. But I thought I said, well, how much is this? I thought he would say 125 at most, but he didn't. He said what he said, and I said yes, though I was shocked it was so much. And I didn't say yes right away, but I knew that he knew that I knew that he had me by the balls. And I knew that he knew that I knew that he knew I would say yes, no matter what the price, because he had me hooked. Well, yeah, Mike, when anytime people go to a pen show, I give them the same spiel. So if you've heard this before in a YouTube, you can hear it again. And Melissa, if you haven't, if you went to a pen show and saw this exact pen at 4 different tables, in one table it was $20, and at the other table it was $200, and there were prices in between. Well, the $20 person probably hates these pens, probably bought the pen for $10, probably tried to fix it and for some reason couldn't, so rather than breaking it, they just put it in their fixer-upper shoebox. Even though I don't think this would ever, at a pen show, this would ever be $20 unless it was a horrible mistake. But it's conceivable that it could be found for $20. It could be for $200 if, let's say, I'm the person that's charging $200 for it. It might be because I really love Skylines, and I know that this is a slightly rare color, which I don't think it is, but there might be some factor about this pen that makes it special. I may have paid someone $40 to restore it for me. I may have, and then when I sell it to you and it doesn't work, and you come back the following year at the pen show and you bring this pen, and I'll fix it for you. That's the full service guarantee sort of treatment that some people give. Most people don't do that, but some do. And then anywhere in between, it might be, a guy is selling it for $50 because he needs a lung transplant, or so there's all sorts of reasons why things are, and each of those prices is correct. There's no wrong price. Yes, you can get it cheaper over there, but then you have to get it fixed. So the exact same pen. Now, if you have similar pens, um, you know, there was one woman that was trying to sell a pen at a pen show next to me, and she wanted $150 for it or something. I don't know what it was, but she said it's $150, and I heard the guy say, "Well, I can get it over there for at that table for $75," and she said, "Well, go do it." And then he said, "Well, it doesn't have the nice nib like yours does." Okay, $150. You know, um, people value things differently. A buyer is willing to pay more. Don't tell anyone, but I would probably pay more if there was there were two of these side by side, and one was completely smooth and the other one had initials engraved on it. I would want to buy, and they were both the same price, I would buy the one that has the initials on it. I'm the only one on the planet that would do that because I like the initials, most of them. So it's a fascinating hobby to be in and to watch how people value pens. And I think this hobby is unique because of the fact that there are so many people that use the pens. You know, stamp collecting, almost everyone is the same. They have different kinds of collections and things like that, but I'm not buying an upside down airplane because I want to send a letter to someone. I'm not collecting vintage automobiles because I want to drive a different one to the grocery store every day, though some might. Jay Leno drives his around all over the place, I guess, right? Ralph Lauren, I'm sure, has a private highway somewhere where he can drive. But I think because there's so many of us out there that buy pens to use, and really 90% of it, of our appreciation of a pen, is how it writes. The line that comes out of it is what we're interested in, not from the point back, but what we can do this way. And that's relatively new in the pen collecting world. And I think most, quote, serious pen collectors or sophisticated pen collectors don't understand us. But it makes it fun because there are two groups of people looking at all of these pens at a pen show, and chances are most of the pens that the dealers bring to sell will be appreciatable by the customers that come in through the door. 20 years ago, when there was me and Susan Worth and maybe a couple of other dealer collectors that actually used the pens to write or draw with, most of them just wanted to find this exact pen but in red so they can complete their collection. And of course they want it to be in perfect shape. They don't want teeth marks, they don't want anything wrong with it, they don't want a replacement clip or a replacement nib. They want everything to be original, blah 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 blah, which is fine. But it's so, in a way, it's so easy to to collect pens that way. But to purchase pens, and then all of the pens, the pens like this that had teeth marks and had the missing clip and had a name engraved on it, all of the things that can go wrong with a pen, they would end up in junk boxes. And the person looking in the junk boxes was me, because I didn't care. I wanted the nibs. So people don't have junk boxes anymore. So you might find something that looks like a junk box, but they're not for $10 each. The dealer will take out the pen, and you're thinking they're going to be $10 because your memory is 20 years behind the times, and they'll look at the pen and they'll say, oh, gee, that has a flexible nib. I hate when they say that, not only because they're going to charge more for it, but they know they can, and they might say it's flexible, but it's nowhere near flexible. So they're just using that word to jack up the price sometimes. Well, try it with your $15 pens. Yeah, you'll really. And Mike, have you been? I don't think you've been to a pen show either, have you, Mike? Going to pen show is quite a learning experience, and you're going to see lots of really, really fancy pens for many thousands of dollars each, and just walk away. You don't need to spend that much for a pen you're going to use. I'd rather buy 20 $30 pens or 20 $50 pens and one $1,000 pen. And I have paid $1,000 for a pen before, so I'm not adverse to that. But do I ever use my $1,000 pen? Never. Have you ever filled it up with ink? Never. Why do I have it? Okay, why aren't you plugged in? Come on. Power cord, work. Are you working? No. Oh, did I? Okay, how did this happen? Okay, my power got unplugged. Just a minute. I have been plugged back in. No, Mike, never, ever, ever say that. There's no reason why you should keep it in a box. Now, if I had a pen like that, I might keep it at the desk. I might never put it in my pocket to carry it around with me. But I would certainly use it and fill it up and have it at the desk. And you can keep the box and all that other stuff. But because it's also a modern pen, Mike, you know, if for some reason it should be run over by a truck and just completely destroyed, you might be able to find another one. Not with difficulty. $1,000 vintage pen, on the other hand, might be a little harder to find. Yeah, Melissa, all of the same things with rarity and condition apply in any collection. Also, maybe not with comic books, but because comic books were all originally cheap, essentially the same 10 cents or 25, whatever they were. But some pens were manufactured to be expensive to begin with. So when you add that in, a Rolls-Royce car is probably going to be always more valuable than a Ford. Well, if you have a vintage pen, Mike, that you really love to write with and to hold and use, and you do go out of the house, you know, bring a Skyline, bring a pen that's relatively common. Don't bring a yellow duofold, bring a red duofold. You know, a pen that's like your Pelican you were talking about that was in the box and everything when you got it, probably never used. A pen like that you might want to keep as mint as you can because it is mint. But a pen that already has tooth marks and has plating wear and has all that other stuff that a 100-year-old pen or a 75-year-old pen would have, that's okay. You can take those out. My friend Rob Morrison and I agree on, you know, pens that have, you know, like a 51 cap, gold-filled 51 cap like this that has a ding in it, which is quite common. They fall out of your pocket, out of your hand. They get slammed in the car door. All sorts of things like that can happen to them. And having one that's pre-dinged, we call it, makes it much easier to carry around and use. When it's completely perfect, we're afraid to use them. And what good is having a pen that you're afraid to put in your hand? So don't be that so afraid that you can't enjoy the pens. Audrey?
Yeah.
Do you still have your watercolor set here? Your Pelican? Okay.
I brought it over to my house.
Okay, fine. I have a watercolor job, and I was.
But I can go downstairs if you want me to write. I'm gonna be bringing stuff. I have to go get a problem checked at a doctor.
Okay.
11:30. And then I was gonna move some stuff over to my house anyway, and then I could pick it up. I got a whole bunch of watercolor stuff. I can bring over everything.
No. There's a job I have to do that eventually has to be done in watercolor.
Yeah.
And my thought was to do it in, because it's this color thing and the bride and the middle lady want it too pink, or they want it more pink, they want it less pink, they want it more green, they want it less green, they want it more tan. You know, so I thought, you know, I don't want to deal with this. I'm just going to do it in black and white, grayscale,
Yeah.
and I can add the color in Photoshop, and that way it's easy for me to change the color.
Smart.
So I don't really need.
A whole set?
I don't. I mean, I think that there might be something downstairs. I'm going to go look now, and I'm pretty sure there's probably some watercolor brushes. So, but I just thought if you had it here, that wouldn't have
Well,
to
let
be
me go
hard.
and check. I'm pretty sure I brought it all.
No, well, again, don't work too hard. I'm sure that there's. I know that there was some downstairs. Hey Tasha, how are ya? When people say I don't want to spend $40 on a pen, or I don't want to spend $100 on a pen. Back in the olden days when I would sell Skylines for, this is 30 years ago, I was selling Skylines for 25, 30 bucks. I couldn't spend $25 on a pen because I'll lose it. And I would say, do this. Use the pen at your desk at home for a week. Don't ever let the pen go away from that desk, but just use it at the desk for a week, and you will bond with this thing in that time, and you will know where it is every second of the day, almost. You will really know where this is. It's even more than you know where your keys are, or your whatever else your wristwatch is. I mean, normally you put your keys near the door in the little basket. You put your watch on the dresser when you take a shower, but a pen, because it's more portable, you might have need for it at the kitchen table. You might have need for it at the desk. You might need it in your pocket when you go on a trip. But you really know where you put it. You know where it is. So you won't lose it. And when you take it outside, I came home from drinking rather a lot. When I used to drink, I would drink in bulk. And I rode my bicycle home somehow, by the grace of God, got all the way home and found that none of the pens were in my pocket that I had taken with me to draw with at the bar. So I got on my bike, put my clothes back on, got on my bike, went back, retraced my steps, and there were, in the gutter of the street, were the 5 pens that fell out of my pocket. But I knew immediately that I didn't have them, because I went to take my shirt off and reached into where my pens were, and they weren't there. So I knew immediately they were gone. This happened another time when I was drunk, and I did find the pens. They were in the gutter, and nothing was damaged. One of the pens was a huge number 8 size, or whatever size it was, 5 size. Conklin Crescent. It's probably I paid $400 for it, and there it was in the gutter. But another time, the next morning, I got up from walking home from the bar, and I couldn't find my black Schaefer flat top with a flexible nib. So I retraced my steps, and there it was on the side of the road. I don't remember falling, but I could have had. So it's a good thing I don't drink anymore, because I'd be dead by now, I think. I've been sober for 4 years, maybe. And I forget. But there's only a couple of pens that I've never found. One is the pen that was in my house, might still be there. It could have been taken by someone at my house. I'd like not to think that happened, but some people might take things that don't belong to them. I think that does happen. And another one was it's a more flat top number 4 sized pen that I lost at a flea market. because at a flea market, you know, I've got pens in my pocket and I'm bending down under tables, looking at things and getting on my hands and knees and crawling around, lifting up boxes of Victrola records and stuff, and saw that it was gone. Yeah, if you there's a group of pens that I fixed up that all have problems. They all have great nibs. One is missing its clip, and I have a slip-on clip, and it has a broken end. So that pen essentially is a perfectly working fountain pen, but if it was stolen or misplaced, or if I have like 5 of these pens that are filled up, ready to go, and I take them when I go sketching with the Urban Sketchers because they're pens that I can also loan to people. You know, you want to try a flexible nib pen, try this one. And then I'll give it to them and I'll get it back in 2 hours. And even if they break it somehow, more than it already is broken, it's not like I'm going to feel bad. To break the nib, that's another story. But so these pens I pre-selected, and they're in a little pile on my desk. And whenever I go out, on my bicycle, if I'm just walking, I don't worry about it. But if I'm on my bike and I am at Urban Sketchers, where I'm sort of balancing drawing and doing lots of drawings, and I just don't have pens with me. I've got pencils and paper, brushes. I have all sorts of shit. And sometimes I can't entirely keep track of what all I've got with me. And but it's just nice to have them all ready to go. I don't have to think about what pens to take. These are the ones they will take. So, but you know, if there's only 2 pens, Tasha, that you take out of the house with you, having them always be the same 2 is kind of a nice way to keep it organized. You also don't have to think about which 2 you're going to bring. You're going to bring always the same 2. Now, because you have those flexible nib pens that you've fallen in love with, you may have to change your mind about which pens. Which pens you want to take. If you look on my Instagram account, you'll see the drawing I did while I was talking to you and making those noises. Excuse me. Did I not post my photon drawing or what? I guess I didn't post it. Hey, Will, how are you? I guess I didn't post it. Where's my okay. Where did I put it? I'm doing fine, Will. How are you doing? I guess I forgot to press share. Oh, it says we'll try again. What says a better connection will bite me? You can do it now. What do you mean better connection? I don't understand. I'm going to turn the thing off and I'm going to turn it back on. I'm going to figure out why this is not working. I'm going to get more coffee. Coffee. You're always in front of me, jumping up and down. Then I would say that's an injury. You're not. So you're not. Even if you did it once or twice, I'd say, okay, that's a crazy lady. Okay, let's see if this works. Not now. Apple battery is low. Fine, thank you very much. Instagram. I'll try again once there's a better connection. Remove. Okay, I'm gonna. Okay, now, Joshua. Oh, what is that? A crack in one of the gold pens? Is that an off-brand pen? Yeah, that's okay. Don't worry about it. I mean, you don't have to. We'll talk about the. It looks like an electron microscope. There's a little crack in the back of the pen. Just keep using it, and there's the charge for that pen is significantly reduced to some amount. I'll tell you later, Tasha. There's a friend of mine in my building that liked a very flexible pen that I had for sale, and she tried it and she said, "How much is this one?" And I looked at it. I didn't have a loop on me, but I guess I must have had a loop. I looked at it and I saw that there was a little crack, and I said, but this was a crack up by the breather hole, which is why it was extra flexible. And I said, I tell you what, use this pen. You don't have to buy it. Use the pen, and when it breaks, bring back the broken parts to me, and I'll put another broken pen in. And I mean, she could buy a one that isn't cracked, of course, but I said, use this for as long as you want, as long as it works, and we'll deal with it later. And she's used it for years, and it still hasn't broken. So the crack that's on this pen is in the back where it's shoved into the pen. So it's probably not going to break or get worse as fast as it would if it was up by the breather hole. So we'll talk about the value and stuff, the price differential. I mean, all of the parts added together, even with the broken nib, are probably still going to be close to that, but it won't be the same. So don't worry about it, but just keep using it. There are some pens that I have that I've used for years that have a crack in the back like that. And almost every half of the pens made by the Moore Pen Company have a crack like that in the back. And quite often, many Waterman number 4 nibs have cracks like that. And they were the Waterman pen nibs that are cracked for a particular reason. And that's because the number 4 nib and the number 2 nib fit in the same sized pen. The hole was different, and the feed was different, and the nib was different, but they looked the same. So I think many times someone shoves a number 4 nib in a number 2 pen by mistake and ends up cracking it. Now, that crack could have happened while in your hands too, but I don't think so. That's a warranted nib, right? It probably, happened years ago, and it's, I didn't notice it, which is entirely possible. My eyes are old these days. Let me see if I can upload this picture finally. Next. Morning photons. T-O-N-S. Morning photons. Okay. Share. We'll try again once there's a better connection. Well, what do I have to do to make it a better connection? remove. Okay, I'm just gonna upload the picture. It's gonna be so freaking difficult. Not the movie. Morning photon. I think this one will work. There, that worked. Yeah, warranted. That nib, sometimes warranted nibs, especially smallish ones like that one, they're very thin. There's not a lot of gold in them, which is why they're often really, really flexible. But again, you have to be careful with those because they don't say stop very loudly when you're flexing them. You know, there's other pens that will sort of let you know that you're pushing too hard. But those, some thin, smallish, thin in dimension and thickness, they're a little tiny bit flimsy. But again, in your case, I was just sending you pens that I thought you'd appreciate the flex of, is sort of, and you do. I mean, you love the way they write, I think. And so we'll talk. We'll talk. Okay, see you, Mike. I'm going to do another drawing of the view I have from this chair of the morning. Oh, for God's sake. The morning sun coming in through yonder window. So let me do that. 11%. 11%. Start. Black. Low battery. I know you're low. these photons are moving across this carpet a lot faster than I'm able to draw them, god damn it. Hey, Ian. Sorry, you want to join us? I understand you and Melissa are chatting with one another. You're becoming pen pals. Click on that little button.
All right.
Hello, mister.
Hello. How are you? Let me
I'm
turn
doing
on the
good.
light.
I have a question that I hope you don't think is too intrusive.
I don't believe in that. I think the worst case is I tell you, I don't want to talk about it.
Okay, your fencing scar on your chin.
Oh yeah, I don't.
You don't want to talk about it.
No, I can. It's not a scar. It's actually just a bald spot.
Okay, I thought that might be it, but I know that
It is.
facial hair is just a weird thing,
It is. I mean, for me, I think it's stress related.
Uh-huh.
So, yeah, it looks like autoimmune alopecia, but it goes away.
It goes away?
Yeah, like a few years ago, I had it was very bad. It was coming down it was going up and down my neck, and it was on the other side of my face here.
Okay.
And it was bad for a while. It just kept getting worse, and then we moved to Korea, and things were just a lot less stressful in a lot of ways, and probably my diet was better. Got more probiotics and kimchi. But
Well,
it
good.
went away, and
Sure, and it was curious.
yeah,
Because it seemed it's one of those things that are, when children have little wine-stained birthmarks, they say, well, that's where an angel kissed you. And
yeah, I think that's a messed up thing to tell somebody.
it probably is. You probably hit puberty when you were in second grade, though.
I did not.
Third grade.
When did I hit puberty? And I don't know. I feel like it was a slow ramp up for me.
I just have this idea of you, with this 5 o'clock stubble in second.
Oh yeah, no, it's a real thing. I've had conversations with people before where it's like, basically they're like, I can't picture you young, only small.
Uh-huh.
Like they don't. So like when they picture a 5-year-old me, they just picture me, but like 3 feet tall. Just
Anyway,
just shrunk down, but still with a beard.
it's just funny. There's some people
Yeah.
who are furrier than most, and
Hirsute.
you are in that group. You're in
Yes.
that group.
I
And you wear your mammalian class order, your mammalian classification, well.
Yeah.
Now, do you bear your children live, and do you have milky boobs, or is it just mammalian as far as the fur goes?
I don't want to talk about it.
Okay.
It's too personal.
Okay. No, of course I meant that as a joke. So
Yes.
you're home now, rather than at school. What day is
Well,
it today?
I teach from here.
Oh, you teach from here. Okay,
This is my office.
this is your office.
But I might have gotten a new webcam since we talked last.
Okay. The last time we talked is when Russell went into ecstatics. How did you like that movie, by the way?
It was very, very beautiful, and I'm glad I watched it. The story is super weak. It's very like.
Oh,
meh.
I mean, it's just as
But-
weak as Star Wars and any other shitty story, with good.
No, actually, I think it was weaker than a lot of those.
I think there was one villain too many.
In Star Wars or in
No, in this one, you had the thief, and you had the wizard, and you had the one eye. And I think they could have done without one of them.
I mean, the story was not particularly well structured, but I didn't judge it for that because it's explicitly an animation masterwork.
No, it's amazing, and I think had it been finished entirely, and you didn't see the black and white drawings and the stills, I would have yawned more. I mean, I didn't yawn at all. I
Mhm.
thought that all of it was visually fulfilling, and was the red machine falling apart at the end a little too long? Maybe, but every time they
Yeah, but it
do
was
part of it, it was
mind
like,
blowing.
how could they possibly come up with another thing that could go wrong? I mean, it's like
I
you
that
thought
was
it was too long, that red
that was
part.
amazing stuff. I think my favorite thing that they did was actually with when Tack the cobbler is chasing the thief around the checkered tile.
Yeah, that
And
was
so,
uh,
like,
my
you don't
brother liked
know,
it the most. I like that the most.
it,
Yeah, it's just
it could go anywhere. It
yeah,
was so great.
yeah. Spatially, it kept you on your toes, and it was delightful.
Yeah, it was really,
And
really pretty. I can't imagine what it would have been like with a good score.
yeah, the score was like Scheherazade and uh, God, Dvorak's New World Symphony was in there, and it was had it not had those. Uh, I mean, it was fine music, but I
Yeah, it's all
kept
right.
thinking, "Where's this from? Where's this from?" And then it annoyed me that they were just sort of cut and pasted.
Yeah, it was. Doesn't
So
always.
Melissa's here now.
Oh,
And
hi,
you,
Melissa.
Melissa, are you sharing actual pieces of paper?
Or we are not yet.
Okay,
She has my address. She can.
okay. But I think we're talking about the movie "The Thief, the Cobbler, Recobbled." Is that what
It's something like that.
you can you can find it on YouTube. It's
Yeah, you want the recobbled version.
the
Yeah,
recobbled version.
I think it's the Thief and the Cobbler.
Thief and the
Recobbled.
Cobbler Recobbled Max 4 or something.
Yeah, that's the one. That's
Yeah.
the best one.
And it's a delight to watch. And
Oh God.
Vincent Price plays the villain,
Yeah.
and it was his last movie, I think, before he kicked the proverbial bucket. And
It's so beautiful.
it is beautiful. But my favorite parts were the pencil drawings.
It's
Sean.
always cool. I like those separately.
You found it
Like
too jarring between?
No, it wasn't that because I knew going in the movie's unfinished. So, and it's gone through like different sort of very faithful and loving edits, but still fan edits, not professional edits by the animator through the studio for an official release. So, I like them just in a very different way. The finished stuff, I was just like, this is mind-blowing animation. The sketches were just like, if you're the kind of person who likes to see how the sausage gets made, this is how the sausage gets made. And that's really
I
cool.
also like the fact that, well, yes, the sausage gets made, but the fingerprints and the life that goes into a drawing, you can see the move even if you're looking at a still. Whereas if you look at a still from a finished thing, you don't see the movement at all. You see the still.
Yes.
And but a sketch, because of the weight of the line or the or something, you sort of see that they're running or they're turning or they're whatevering. And that's the part that I like about that. Oftentimes I'm very annoyed by the difference between the foreground and the background of any animation, where the background is beautifully rendered with shadows and light coming in, atmospheric perspective, and then you see this flat cutout with maybe two shadows. There's a dark pink and a light pink.
Yeah,
that's it. And
that
drive me mental.
Well, the animator that is like the lead animator on it, I forget his name. It doesn't matter. I mean, it matters, but it doesn't matter. But he did. He's known for that attention to detail. He did he did the animation for Who Framed Roger Rabbit,
Okay.
and like
Yeah. I
really,
mean, those the animated parts were a little too real for me, but they had to fit in the real world.
yes,
Whereas when it's all animated and you see the background of the Flintstones house is having this little
Yeah.
sponge dapple business
Right.
going, and then you see poor Fred always flat, and that,
yeah.
that bothers
I
me.
mean, one of the other things I was reading about with the Thief and the Cobbler is so Disney. I think Max Fleischer invented it, but Disney, ripped it off. It was like the parallax machine. So
Uh-huh.
they would only have to animate the foreground, and they
Okay.
would do like full paintings of the scene, and they could move that around for perspective as they were filming. Um, and it became a really common way to achieve parallax in animation, which is really important visually and very cool. But apparently, with The Thief and the Cobbler, they did not use a parallax machine at all, and so every perspective shift is specifically animated.
Yeah, I mean, you could tell that by
Yeah,
and I love the fact that the overall background was very much right out of the illuminated manuscripts of Persia.
Oh yeah, very deliberately.
Islamic art.
Yeah.
And that was a delight to see. And
Something that I really appreciated about it was most of the time with animation, especially fantasy animation, you're you're doing things that can't be done in a live action movie.
no,
Um,
you can't
but
stay
what you're
for 3 seconds before you fall
there's
feet.
but it's
walk
stuff
away.
like that.
Yeah.
It's stuff like if you were going to try and do that in live action, you'd be like, okay, we have to set up wires to hang them so that they can run in the air for a second. Or you're saying like, well, we don't have special effects. The special effects don't exist to turn this person into a dragon.
Yeah.
Very, very few people used animation to do things that you couldn't do in live action from the other side, thinking why don't we abuse the fact that we don't have a proper camera? We don't have to worry about positioning this telephone booth sized camera now. It's not about what's on the screen, it's about how we can move around with ease. Very, very few people do that. Do that well. Like, could you have filmed? I mean, I think you could not have done, even with with an infinite budget. You could not have filmed the Thief and the Cobbler because just limited by camera movement.
Mm-hmm.
You couldn't do a shot for shot recreation. Where with a lot of things you could.
Yeah.
You really could. If you had the budget for it, you could do Aladdin.
I'm just thinking of other scenes from that movie that I thought were really fun was the crawling up the steps, the thief crawling up the steps to the princess, a very snake-like.
Yeah.
I thought that was good. And then the scenes on the steps with the guards, it's sort of like
I love their design.
Yes. Just the trapezoid of their leg it was just beautiful. There wasn't a need for anything more than that simple moving that triangle down to the next step.
That was it.
And it became, they didn't bother adding shadows. They could have. They didn't bother doing anything else. It was just this one simple scene. It's like one of my favorite scenes in Beauty and the Beast, the old Cocteau movie.
Say that again. You cut out for a
Beauty
second.
and the Beast.
Yeah.
The Cocteau version.
Oh yeah.
Or Rene Claire, which whoever did it, Jean Cocteau, I think, where the beast presents Beauty with a pearl necklace. Remember that? How he summons the pearl necklace out of thin air,
Yeah.
and it's simply just he holds in his hand a handful of loose pearls, which he opens up his hand and they all fly across the table in different ways. So they just did it backwards. So you see his hand, his open blank hand, and all these pearls appear and make this mound, which he then gives. Turns into a necklace, and just that simple thing where we know how it's done, but we forget, and we're sucked into the magic of it. And I love those sorts of effects that are simple and easy to understand, and they delight me in a way that watching the Dome of St. Peter's fall over in one of those stupid movies and roll down the hill. Like, no, that's not how domes fall. What was that movie?
Not in your experience.
Not in my experience. Domes do not completely fall in one piece and roll down the hill. We know from watching 5,000 versions of airplanes hitting the World Trade Center and the World Trade Center falling down that what you mainly see is dust.
Yeah,
dust is what is missing in all of these. Dust and quickness. It does not fall down in one piece in slow motion either.
No.
32 feet per second squared is what you've got.
There's depends what you want in a film. That's the classic argument. I remember there's a wonderful it was an HBO movie called RKO 281 about the making of Citizen Kane. And it is not a better movie than Citizen Kane, but it is more enjoyable to watch than Citizen Kane.
Yeah.
Which as a movie I've come to think of as not unlike J.R.R. Tolkien in that it is more important than it is good. Like J.R.R. Tolkien is mind-blowing, but I don't read Lord of the Rings and go, whoa, his prose. Yeah. It's amazing. But in RKO 281, there's this wonderful sort of tete-a-tete argument perpetually happening between Orson Welles and Herman Mankiewicz, the screenwriter. And at one point, Mankiewicz is like, "What do you think your job is in Hollywood, Orson? Why do people even go to the movies? What do they want to see?" And Orson is just like, "Life's rich pageant," and Mankiewicz is just like, "Wrong. People are sick to death of life. They live their lives every day. That's not why they're here. Your job is to put butts in seats. End of story." And that's just a constant, I think, push and pull that makes.
Russell just joined us. He can't join us, in fact, but because he's working, but he can pretend to work and watch us. So say hi to Russell.
Hi, Russell. But that push and pull, I think, is what leads to the best art. I think art left unfettered can be really vapid, annoying shit. But I also think art created explicitly for commerce is equally vapid, but on the other end of the spectrum.
Yeah,
There is a relation between art and commerce. I think it's hard to balance it. But you need a box to think outside of.
Yeah. Have you seen the movie Burden of Dreams?
No.
It's a documentary about the making of Fitzcarraldo by
Oh gosh, yeah, I know Fitzcarraldo.
Herzog.
Yeah.
And the movie depicts dragging an ocean liner over a steamship or over the Andes or something.
Yeah.
And you think about that. You think about the actual thing.
Mm-hmm.
Or you think about the sinking of the Titanic, for example. Big boat built, loaded with a bunch of people, it sinks.
Mm-hmm.
Making the movie Titanic by Cameron probably involved many more millions of dollars than it would have been to actually build and sink a new boat and have cameras on it. So this movie about the Burden of Dreams was about the filming of that film and how they had Jason Robards and Mick Jagger originally cast for the two people, and one got sick and the other one quit because of the other one got sick, and then they had all the rainy season was longer than it was supposed to be, and there was pygmies with blow darts attack or whatever Amazon natives attacking the film crew with poison darts. Okay, bye. Can you get some regular jam jelly? Oh, okay. I didn't see. Okay, thanks.
Oh, you're home in Minnesota?
Yeah.
Oh. Cool.
So, there was a pipe that burst in the basement, and
I see.
everything had to be moved out so it could be dried out. And also, me being here allows me to help my brothers decide what to do with this house, whether we keep it or sell it, and that kind of stuff. But anyway, Burden of Dreams, Herzog, the making of the movie and actually showing them dragging an actual ocean liner, because it was not animation, it was real people, and they had to make it look vaguely like they were doing it, and they tried to lift it,
Yeah, I saw an interview with Werner Herzog where he was talking about that. He's like, how can you do this without a computer? You cannot.
and he also said, this place is crazy. Even the stars are in a mess.
Yeah, he's so wonderful.
But anyway, watching that movie was more difficult to make than the actual dragging a fucking ship over the Andes. To build an opera house to make the natives appreciate beautiful music. So
all right, let me add
by
that
the way,
to my
sorry for
agenda.
getting in your guys' chat and yelling at you for 5 minutes and leaving.
I told him it was a pleasure.
Oh, okay.
Movies.
I don't remember when he did that, but
that's because we didn't think of it that way.
I say okay.
All right, so what am I adding? Burden of Dreams.
Burden of Dreams, yeah. Did you see the movie, the Fitzcarraldo, or not?
No, I'm just aware of it.
Yeah, I haven't seen it either, but I don't think you need to.
Yeah, I get that vibe.
I love Herzog's movies. Even Drawers Start Small is one of my favorites.
I really enjoyed Happy People.
I don't know if I know that one.
It's a more recent one. I think it's called Happy People. It's
the movie he did, the documentary he did about the cave paintings, I thought could have been 10 minutes long.
Yeah, Happy People, A Year in the Taiga.
Okay.
He just follows a few different people who are living in the taiga in Siberia.
Okay.
And how mostly they seem happy.
Well,
they
don't have the internet to piss them off.
Yeah, I guess they have bears instead, but yeah. It's something. Like, we don't we don't have any sort of tradition where we learn how to cope with the internet. They do have a tradition where they learn how to cope with cougars.
Yes. Run away. 3 choices: kill them, run away, be eaten. Up to you.
Yeah, some stuff like that. Yeah. Yeah, but there's techniques. There's techniques for all of those. Well, I don't know if there's techniques for being eaten.
Here, I'll add some salt. Here, I'll,
Yeah,
I'll,
right.
I'll pre-spice myself.
Yeah.
Maybe
Exactly.
that's what they should do. They should just completely douse themselves with chili peppers or something, and then in a couple of generations, the tigers will know never to attack them.
Right. I mean, that's genuinely a technique for keeping animals out of your garden, is planting chilies alongside your crops.
Okay, well, that makes sense.
Yeah, because then I'm not going to say there's nothing more entertaining, but but it is very entertaining to watch.
Watching a little bunny start going mental.
I was going to say a deer, actually.
Okay.
To watch a deer that has just eaten a Sicilian hot pepper. Yeah.
Oh.
That's good.
Our dear friend, what's his name? Noodlers.
Our dear friend, Nathan.
Nathan Tardif.
Yeah.
Rather than pulling legs off of spiders, he does the next best thing.
He found paraplegic or octoplegic spiders and glued legs back on.
Every other one off. No, he puts sugar cubes out for the raccoons.
Okay.
And they wash them. They have to wash their food, and they wash the food, and it disappears. And they get so upset, and they get another sugar cube, and then they wash it, and it disappears on them, and they're looking at their little paws, and they're really pissed. and Nathan is giggling.
Of course he is.
Behind his window, his soot-covered window.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
he can't see out of his windows.
Yeah, he's an insane person.
Well, he is, but he's on a scale of insanity. He's on the good side.
I wonder. I feel
he's on the Tesla side rather than the who's
Manson.
another? Huh?
Manson would be
Manson. He's on the Tesla rather than Manson.
I mean, I feel like there's 2 axes. The vertical axis is I guess how crazy are you?
Yeah.
And then the horizontal axis is what's the quality of that insanity?
I think Nathan is not. I don't think
he's not completely.
I think he's pretty centered, but just he sort of hovers a little left and a little up and down.
Yeah, he would be morally a better person if he would put less sediment in his ink.
Yes.
Down with colloids.
And chemicals that who knows what hazmat team in the future is going to have to go clean out his house.
I'm fascinated that Tasha used to have a cat who would eat jalapeno peppers out of the garden.
That is weird. My ex-boyfriend
unusual.
had a cat that loved to be vacuumed.
That makes more sense to me. Yeah, because
even he would put the uncovered nozzle, the hose, just up and down the cat, and the cat would just sit there and purr, and the tail would go up the tube.
Yeah.
And
is my cat still hanging out in here? Are you here?
Do you have a cat?
I do.
Oh,
She's not in the room though.
okay.
Her name is Dolly Purton.
Cute.
Yeah. Pertha Kit was
My cat is named Tina, my new cat.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't really like the name Tina. It came from a neighbor.
Mm-hmm.
I was thinking of changing it to Mitzi or something a little bit crustier than Tina. Tina was just a little too
I don't know.
Tina Louise for me, a
Sure.
little too girly. But when I heard that it was short for Quarantina, I thought,
Nice.
okay, perfect.
That's good. I was going to say, like, you can also, get crusty about it and like think of yourself in an Ike Turnery kind of role. Be like, damn it, Tina.
Okay.
You know.
Well, I like Quarantina.
I also like that. We make quarantinis.
Oh, good.
Uh,
I wish I could drink some with you. I
Um,
really miss drinking sometimes, but
I get it. I sometimes really miss smoking.
I, when I end up in the nursing home, I'll start drinking again. But
That's reasonable.
I was recounting earlier on this chat the time I lost like a dual fold sized, I don't know what number it was,
Yeah.
dual fold senior sized almost, Conklin Crescent,
Okay.
and four other equally valuable pens. When I got home from the bar, they were all missing, and I got on my bike, retraced my steps, and there they all were in the gutter, a block away from the bar.
Wow.
They bounced out of my pocket. So, in the times I've lost pens, on the way home was because I was drunk.
I'm glad that you found them. I've lost pens twice, and I didn't find them.
Well, I've done that too, but only twice that I know of. Yeah. And one was a Moore pen that was at a flea market, and the other one was and it still might be in my house somewhere, a red striped, whatever the red is called, starts with a C, Schaefer senior sized striped pen in, I want to say cashmere, but that's not right. Cathay, that's not right. What was the red called? Crimson. Schiavello, it's the pen you want. Are you still in the room, Schiavello? How did you enjoy being entrapped by Schiavello? We had this little story about you were duct taped.
I think I missed it.
I missed that.
Yeah. I must have passed out.
No, it was a long running joke that Schiavello had a little Ian crush, and when I talked about my Ian or something like that, he said, no, he's mine, and I have him duct taped in the back room. So he was, well, you'll have to.
That's lovely.
You were well kept. Well, you were well looked after.
I like being coveted. Yeah, I'm all good. All good with that.
I'm trying to think of the name of that red pen. What is the red pen called?
I don't know. Schaefer red pen.
Schaefer red stripe. You can find it. Starts with a C.
Red pen. Starts with a C. Well,
Schaefer red stripe.
Red stripe pen. Okay.
Red black stripe.
I don't know. I keep telling people I don't know anything about pens.
Burgundy stripe.
Always
typed in red stripe, so that's what they're calling it.
I was thinking like it might just be red stripe. That's totally the kind of thing they would do.
They actually had a name for it, and it's
Intensity.
Intensity.
I see the Schaefer Intensity red stripe fountain pen.
That's not it.
It's a ballpoint. Your favorite?
No, it's. Let me try this again. Red Schaefer
Triumph
fountain pen.
Vintage. Triumph, the insult comic pen. I'm just seeing like red stripe.
Carmine.
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 I should have known.
Well, Carmine is the pen.
I say I should have known, but I just should have kept guessing for words that were synonyms for red. I said crimson.
Well,
But
it's Carmine, and I don't know what the green one was called, Emerald or who knows. But
Schaefer Verde.
sure.
So I haven't been doing much calligraphy lately. I really should. Talking with Melissa, I was like, the calligraphy came up, and it was like, oh, how long have you been doing it? It was like, oh, oh crap, 23 years. I guess I am a calligrapher. Shit. So I really should get back to that. I've put enough time into it. But I've also been doing a lot of graphic design stuff, and I thought I would give you a preview of the cover to the next issue of the Sci-Fi Lampoon that I've designed.
Oh, good.
Because I usually go vintage, but let's see. Well, just an application window is fine. I usually go vintage, but the editors were just talking, and they were like, let's do some 80s style ads. And I was like, okay, well, do you want 80s? Here's 80s.
Okay. I'm texting with Schiavello, and here it is.
So
And to stream.
So
Oh.
I do.
Sci-Fi Lampoon magazine.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty 80s.
Yeah, and usually I manipulate stuff to end up with the magazine cover. Like, I really enjoyed our last cover, which was here somewhere.
Are you doing any of the Dan and Steve
No.
anymore?
So
That's nice.
So the last one we did was this one, just a Western style, but it's science fiction. So you can see he's got Three-Eyed Cowboy. Why not? But I'm not an artist. I did not make this. I manipulated a public domain Western magazine to do this, whereas this, there was nothing, and then I made it.
Oh, you.
And that feels good. It's modeled after I guess countless video games and album covers that had that grid, and then the fonts. I was thinking of a combination of Miami Vice and Knight Rider.
Uh-huh. Russell says, I love everything about this.
That's good. Go to sci-fi-lampoon.com and buy some of it. That would
Are
be
you
cool.
doing any of the Dan and Steve cartoons anymore?
No.
They were so brilliant, I thought. you and Chris. How's he doing?
Broadly, he's doing well, but specifically, like in this specific moment, he's not great. In the last few months, he's had quite a few surgeries.
Yeah, I saw that on his Instagram page.
Yeah, I mean, like he had a, oh God, what was it? He had a surgery to remove 2 hernias, during which they found 2 more hernias.
Uh-huh. Oh dear.
And then he recently, so he's been recovering from that, but then also from was sinus surgery.
Okay, hold on.
So, and here's one that you might approve. You might appreciate this more.
Good.
Charles Mantis.
Charles Mantis.
Yes. In just 7 days, you can have a body like mine. And I think
I have a question. Is there a way that you can pull up from your computer the Dan and Steve show one where you're Chris is off screen,
Yeah.
and you're talking to him in your little bubbles, and he's talking about his girlfriend that doesn't exist, that it's just a pillow, and you end up talking to your pillow. Remember that one?
Oh, wow.
That's one of my favorites.
Yeah, I remember that one. I no longer have digital access to the archive.
Oh no.
So, let me see. Is there
But I
a-
can probably find it. It's still up on the interweb somehow.
It is still up on the interweb. If you go to danandsteveshow.com, it's one of the early ones. I wish there were a way to go to the first comic just to start at the beginning, but I don't see a way to do that.
For those of you in the audience, all 11 of you or whatever, it's Ian and Chris were roommates. Is that right?
We were.
For many, many years.
Yeah.
And
we even moved to a different apartment together.
Well, there was gossip all up and down Brooklyn or wherever the hell they were.
Yeah, we lived in Stamford, Connecticut for 8 years or 9. Yeah, 8 years. And then I used to joke when we moved to Queens together, which I guess Queens is its own joke. But
yes.
But I used to joke that we moved to a different state so that we wouldn't end up common law married.
Okay, funny. Well, anyway, it was they put out this great. I don't know if it was weekly or monthly.
It was 3 days a week.
3 days. 3 days a fucking week
for like 3 years. Yeah.
Oh Jesus. Okay.
There's like 350 comics up there,
and they're really, really fun. Almost
full disclosure, they're not all. Some of them
are not very funny and not very fun, but they're rather pointed or whatever. Some are kind of creepy. But it shows them photographs of them usually. Sometimes they're sort of cartoonized, posterized or something, some filter that makes you look more like a cartoon than a photograph. But most of the time they're just photographs, and they've got thought bubbles and voice bubbles coming out of their brains or their mouths. And
that's where I learned all my graphic design and lettering. Well, not all, but that's where I learned how to do it, and then sort of improve and be able to actually do graphic design is all stuff from the Dan and Steve show. So it was a wonderful experience. But it's also, I think the first ones we did were 14 years ago, or 13 or 14. Yeah, 14 years ago. And so I wish that I could be the cutting or bleeding edge of social sensibilities, but I'm not. I just recognize when other people go, "We shouldn't make those jokes anymore." I go, "Really?" And they go, "Yeah." And I go, "I guess you're right. Okay."
What are we going to laugh at now then?
Yeah, there's all. I published the Sci-Fi Lampoon, and I don't really read a lot of the stories that get published. Uh-huh. I trust my editors. A couple of the editors are. I would not say that they are right wing, but I would say they are conservative.
Okay.
I don't think any of them supported Trump. But I know that one of them was sort of religious and was having a really hard time being like, "Oh man, this one is an orange garbage fire, and this one, gosh, he supports abortion. I don't know." And I'm like, dude. So that level of conservative, not right wing intense. But so they've mentioned like, is it okay to accept political stuff? What kinds of stories can we do? And I was like, look, as long as we all agree that it is punching up, it's okay. I would avoid political stuff in the Sci-Fi Lampoon because comedy doesn't age well.
Uh-huh.
Like, there's an article. Do you know? Do you remember Deep Thoughts from Saturday Night Live?
No, I never really watched Saturday Night
So
Live.
there was this wonderful bit that went on for years. It was Deep Thoughts by Jack Handy, and you'd have Phil Hartman's soothing voice over like some sort of naturescape, and now Deep Thoughts by Jack Handy, and they'd be like just ridiculous, like, you know, what is it? Instead of mouse traps, what about baby traps? Not to harm the babies, but just to hold them down until they can be removed. Or one of my favorites is, if trees could scream, would we be so cavalier about cutting them down? We might, if they screamed all the time for no good reason. Like, they're amazing. And you know, it's always Deep Thoughts by Jack Handy, and there's books of these that have been collected now. And so we think of Jack Handy as just the guy who did Deep Thoughts, but he was a staff writer for Saturday Night Live. He wrote all kinds of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And he was always in the pursuit of like the perfect joke, which he says he has yet to find. But
Okay.
But if you compare that with some of the, you know, the like Weekend Update, they're like the Saturday news stuff, that stuff ages really poorly. Like David Spade's Hollywood Minute is funny for literally that weekend. And then like the news has moved on.
Yeah.
Chevy Chase falling over as Gerald Ford does not hold up.
No.
Like, but Al Franken was talking about how, like, you know, you'd have these, you know, you'd have Dana Carvey doing his George Bush impression, or his Ross Perot stuff, and you'd have David Spade's Hollywood Minute, and then you would have Jack Handy come in with his idea for a sketch, and it's Unfrozen Caveman Lawyer, just like this pure imagination. That, you know, so it's really hard to find stuff like that does age well. Like Unfrozen Caveman Lawyer is probably, I think it's 30 years old now.
Mm-hmm.
At this point.
Well, I've never heard of it before, but it sounds funny.
It's right, but it's still funny.
Yeah.
And you know what it's going to be.
Well, I have an idea.
Or like
But
I think one of his other sketches was Toonces the driving cat, the cat who can drive a car. Like, and it's always like he can drive, but not very well. But those things age very, very well. It's hard to find comedy that ages well, is what I'm saying. And political stuff is so tied to the times.
yeah,
It's hard to find a balance.
when I watch The Simpsons, for example, did I talk about this? But when I watch The Simpsons,
No.
I know that there's a good quarter of it that I won't understand because it involves popular
Yeah.
people, and I only know the unpopular ones, and current events and things like that. And I don't
Right.
get, you know, a joke about Jodie Foster. And every, you know, if there was a laugh track, there'd be laughing, but I don't get it.
Right.
So it's, I have a hard time with any stand-up comic as well for the same reason.
A lot of them do that.
Mhm. And I look back at one of the things that I really enjoy watching are reruns of What's My Line shows from the 50s.
Oh yeah,
60s,
yeah.
and they are really, really funny. they the panelists and George Daly, John Charles Daly, and
hmm
the stars, especially pretending to be, and there you don't have to necessarily know the history of 1958 to understand any of it. Occasionally, they'll have a baseball player part of the Yankees or something, and I don't know who he is, but
he's so handsome.
But he can be so handsome. But Bennett Cerf is one of the funniest people, and he was the publisher for Random House, and he was on that program.
Okay.
And he's also a humorist. He was a lecturer, and he wrote many books. And he's a delight to watch. And again, they're timeless, I think.
Oh, I do. I have to go and sort of make lunch, but I did want to share one more thing because I found some calligraphy.
Okay.
Which I know you'd been after some of my calligraphy, and this was a commission that I did recently for someone, and it says, "Der Teufel scheißt immer auf den großen Haufen."
Okay, the little shit.
Teufel. No, Teufel is devil, so it's the devil.
The devil shit.
The
Scheiß.
Yeah.
Scheiß, shat. The devil shat. Immer auf den großen, the big Hausen. The big house.
So Haufen. It's Haufen, not Hausen.
Okay.
Although the plural of house is not Hausen, it's Häuser. So, no, this means the devil always shits on the biggest pile.
Oh.
And it's apparently something that a friend of mine in her department, they always need funding, and it's like the department that has the funding is always the one that gets the more funding.
Yes.
So this is something that they say, and she was like, "Can you write that?" And I was like, "I can." I'd be happy to.
Die Teufel scheißt immer auf den großen Haufen.
Yep. So I don't get a lot of practice doing an S set in a Gothic italic. So, but I think it turned out okay.
I think it turned out great. Großen, and you get to do it twice. Scheißt immer in großen.
Yeah. Großen, yeah. Yeah.
Großen?
And also,
D-E-N?
It's actually it's Großen actually because it's got the umlauts.
Okay.
Oh,
okay.
Großen. I did all my dots in the red.
You rubricated your dots.
I did.
Your dots are rubricated.
It's true.
I love your rubricated dots. Has anyone told you that? You have
no.
the most beautiful rubricated dots.
You were the first to share that with me. I don't have anything so suggestive to say about you, but I really enjoy your ledger fetish.
Okay, that's kind of suggestive.
Isn't it?
Calling it a fetish.
Well, so okay. How about I love watching you work on your gurney.
Oh yeah, you like that. Okay. Well, good. It's really fun seeing you, and anytime that you have the ability to take a break or have a break in teaching and want to join me here, just send me a text and say, "Let's go online."
Okay.
Because it would be fun to maybe I can get out. I've got a stub nib here that I could maybe play with you. And we
That sounds fun. We could do that.
I'll show you what I can do. So grossen. Here, show me that thing again. Can you do that? I can do my best at imitation. Is the
Yes, I
flattering.
mean, I don't know how well it's going to work, but yeah, here you go.
Well, let me just see. Add to screen. I just want to see how you made. Oh, you made a small g.
Yeah.
Oh, see, this is difficult. G R. I don't have the ability to. My dots are not rubricated.
That's okay. I don't think anyone would judge you.
I don't care about anyone. I only care about you.
Oh, that's sweet. I won't judge you.
Much better.
Um, I also have. Oh, geez. Will this open in?
Take a look.
Do. Oh, hold on. Yeah, it's pretty good. Let me stop the screen share. Yeah.
It's the nib I have. It's in a Schaefer Lifetime pen, but it's a warranted nib that has a really nice flexible stub. So, I love you. You know Teo Zona, I'm sure.
Maybe.
Maybe you know him. He's a black hand calligrapher from Deutschland über alles, and
Oh no, I don't think I do.
I will see if I can find it on Instagram. And he's so good at using a slightly dry-ish parallel point. So he's the pen. It's always sort of running out of ink.
Yeah.
And
Ward has a true gift for that, and I need to talk to him about his.
How to do that?
Yeah. How does he gets such an incredible ragged edge?
Yeah.
Let's see here. I got a couple other things. I need to transfer my calligraphy onto this new computer. This is one that I did for a friend. I think I can get a little bit closer.
Okay. Work. I like that.
Yeah, that's a good one. Work is the curse of the drinking class. This is me slumming it with I'll do the first word big in a calligraphic hand, and the rest of it is Gothic italic, which is basically my handwriting these days. So
Okay.
I'm not trying that hard.
I like, your I describe your work if I may
Sure.
be so bold.
You may.
I think of it as so freeing, and so I think so of Theo Zone's work, which I just emailed you. I mean, here's one of his things.
Okay. Yeah.
So, but his normal, he's now doing pointed pen writing, which
Oh.
I hate him for because he's good at that as well. But
stay in your lane.
But what I like about yours is it's not fussy. It never gets fussy. It always seems casually produced, and there's a lightness to it because of that.
Oh, good.
Gothic can look so fucking goddamn
Gothic,
ponderous and and heavy, and you don't have that. You're able to, by not having everything exactly on a line, by some of the letters being a little bit different.
Yeah.
And then just what you choose to write it's not John 3:16. It's
right.
wild.
That's actually my one rule: is I'll calligraph anything as long as it's not religious.
Yes.
And this, I wish I had gotten a better picture of this one. I made it for my brother-in-law. He has it hanging in his office, apparently.
I like that.
It's
like-
that one is more fully Gothic, but it's still
And that D is just weird, but of course it is.
well. It's based on a Lombardic D, but it's got
Okay.
it's got too much going on, and I was just
It's
like,
okay. I
he
like
won't
it's
care.
like
It's
little ant antennas.
yes,
You turn your head sideways. It's an ant with its big mouth open,
yeah, it sure is.
eyes
yeah.
closed.
Yeah, or some weird alien helmet with a visor. Yeah,
Uh-huh.
I see that.
So
Yeah,
anyway, it's just they just make me smile. Not
I'm-
just even if I didn't know what they were saying, they would make me smile. And
I'm
That's
delighted
what
to hear it.
I like about your work. Teo Zones makes me not smile. I don't smile, but I can get lost in them really easily. But
And you sent me.
I sent you in Instagram one of his things.
Let's see, Dan and Steve show pillow girlfriend. This is gonna fuck up my search prompts.
Yeah, Google. Did you mean this? No. Did you? I didn't know what else to say. I mean,
no, that's what it's called. That was I think the name of the sketch was.
oh,
Pillow
it
Girlfriend.
wasn't. Okay. Oh,
So
it's a very descriptive name.
minus Amazon. Looks like there aren't many great matches. That's fine. We literally only need one result. Yes, the blanket woman.
Is that it?
I think so.
Is that what you called it?
Yeah, here it is. I think we can share that. Before I go, I will share that. I'll pop a link in here for you, and I'll share the screen.
I mean, what? So why is it that that's the one I remember?
I don't know.
I remember many of them, but I remember that one.
I mean, it's funny.
Well, many of them are funny. No, this isn't the one I'm thinking of.
No?
No, I'm thinking of you're pictured on a couch.
Okay. Well, I mean, this one is kind of funny, where I kill
Oh, I'm sure it is, but
kill
I
my
will
girlfriend.
send me the link because I don't know if people can see it here.
I mean, I'm sharing. Oh, the links.
I mean,
I sent you the link.
yeah,
So okay, so you mean? I know which one you mean. I'm pretty sure I do.
anyone that's listening still, we're down to 9, but the danandsteveshow.com. Is that what it is?
No, just danandsteveshow.com.
danandsteveshow.com will give you all of the ones, and
They're
it
not
seems
all
to me
good.
they're a little. It seems to me that you have to go in order, like 1, 2, 3, 4. It's like
Unfortunately, you do.
there's not an archive.
There used to be. I don't know what
I
happened.
guess you could see on the top. It might say page 2 and page 3, and you can type in, but it was a little hard to navigate, which is why I didn't visit it a lot.
It's been redesigned. But okay, let's see. danandsteveshow.com. Mr. Pillow. Oh no, robot. It's Mr. Pillow is a cad. I think
Is
what
that it?
Yeah. Mr. Pillow is a cad. I don't know if I can find that.
Okay.
Mr. Pillow is a cad. Oh no, robot. No, I didn't mean that. Why aren't we at Oh No Robot? Mr. Pillow is a cad. Ben and steveshow.com. Let's see.
That's okay. You have things to do. We'll find it.
I found. I mean, here it is. I found it.
Oh, good.
I think. I hope.
The last thing is you turning to the
The couch.
your right toward the couch, and you say something. You ask.
Is it this?
Yeah, that's the one. That's the one I
Okay.
remember.
I'm amazed that I pulled that out from, because that's 13, 14 years ago.
Well, I'm amazed that I remember it because I saw it 2 minutes ago, 2 years ago, maybe.
Right.
But
But
send
yeah.
me the link to this one. And I mean, is there a way that would you mind if I have the link and make a screenshot? Could I post it on my Instagram page with your credits to you?
Yeah. You can share.
Okay,
it.
I just because I mean, this is a good example, I think, of this. So
It's a good one. It's one of our best early ones. Like you can see. It's a complicated page. We used to have these very dense pages.
yeah,
Whereas if we go to the more, the last ones, this is the most complex that we would get.
uh-huh.
Having a 9-panel grid as opposed to this, which is, this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That's 11 panels. That's crazy.
Well, but the one that the one that you have showing now seems a little more complicated because of the way that the bubbles are working. You don't know how you're supposed to read the bubbles on that first one you showed. I remember this one, I think.
Yeah, this one is just 4, and we tried real hard. I'm trying to find a good example. This one's nice. This one's just really clever. Mostly just clever photography. That was fun.
Yeah. No, these are all really, really good, and I think you should make T-shirts out of them. No, I'm trying to figure out a way to have publish them in a book. Can you do that? Would that be?
Yeah, we could. We would have to. I mean, some of them we would have to sort of fudge the resolution on, but yeah, we could do that.
Yeah.
But towards our later stuff was much. We moved much more towards simplicity and made it more organic. So we just have these 5 panels. This is the layout that worked pretty well for us. Or this one was, we basically stuck to 5 panels when we did. And this was
they made me smile so much when I was reading them. And again, I don't know if I ever subscribed or looked at them in a regular way 3 times a week. I just because
that's okay.
But I would look at them. Like that one looks so. It's that panel right there is the love child of Doonesbury, the way it's made, Doonesbury and Little Nemo and Slumberland or something.
Some of them really are. I don't have any Doonesbury, but I do have a Little Nemo and Slumberland book hanging out somewhere.
Yeah, but it's just the way, here it's just dialogue. There's no action really.
Yeah.
And like most Doonesbury ones are just dialogue. Whereas
here it is. This became our go-to layout for a while, where we had just 5 panels, one title on the top, and then 4 squares, and that worked really well.
Okay. I do like some of the ones that are just one single image too that you have.
Some of those are pretty funny. This one I wanted to show you from what we were talking about before, because this is just Dr. Big Gay Mike.
Oh.
Your guide to the wonderful world of dance, apparently.
Oh God.
And he really enjoyed this. And he actually is a doctor. He is He's Dr. Michael Levasseur at Drexel University. He's an epidemiologist. He's regularly on TV talking about COVID stuff. He's wonderful, and we have.
And he's also big and gay, and he knows how to dance.
He doesn't really know how to dance very well, but he is big and gay. He's I think he's like 6'3", 6'3.5". He's and he's built large, and he has a pink flamingo named Maurice. He's pretty gay. And that's how he introduced himself to me. Also, was just like I'm.
So what does this one say? This says Ghostbusters on it.
That's just this is my Ghostbusters shirt.
I know, I recognize it, and there you've got your Omas Inc. And so
Yeah.
can you read the copy for this one? Is this funny enough to read?
It says, "Since I was a boy, I was told that flight is man's great ambition, and that the dog is man's best friend. But my best friend is Chris, and my ambition is to have a pair of retractable claws housed in my forearms." So,
Well, and you and Chris are still best friends, I hope.
yeah. So it's actually it's kind of funny. So he still lives in the apartment that we moved to in Queens, which is on I'm not going to talk about this as though everybody knows the neighborhood,
Oh.
but he's on 42nd Street and Queens Boulevard.
Okay.
When we left 42nd Street, we moved to Korea. But then, when we came back to the neighborhood, we're on 62nd Street, right near Queens Boulevard.
Okay.
So 20 short blocks, like.
Okay.
And now my wife and I are buying an apartment. The co-op just approved our application, actually, so we will officially own it hopefully by the end of the month.
Well, congratulations on that.
Thank you. And that place is on 52nd Street.
Ah.
So right in the middle. So we're still very close. Chris and I are still in touch, still best friends.
What does he do?
He's a computer technician and a photographer.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
And is he married now?
He is.
No, that's what I
He is.
thought.
I was the best man at his wedding. If you wanted to see video of me,
Being best.
well, I thought it was a good speech. They thanked me for it a lot.
Oh, good.
I think it was pretty fun. I gave the speech, and when I returned to the group, his father was just like, "Fuck you, Ian," and I was like, "Sorry, Greg," and he was like, "How am I supposed to follow that?" And I was like,
Oh, I see. Okay.
"I don't know. Maybe
can
you should have
imagine
prepared."
You that you would be a good. You should rent yourself out as a best man speech giver, speech writer.
Going to the doctor then.
Okay. Good luck.
Maybe. I mean, I do enjoy. It's tough to do. I mean, I guess that's just the thing of life. It's tough to do something that you care about,
Mm-hmm.
because you care about it.
Well, it's.
Yeah.
I'm glad that you guys are still. I wouldn't expect you wouldn't be friends with them.
Oh yeah, but people grow apart. It just happens.
But you seem to, based on the Dan and Steve show comics, you seem to enjoy that collaboration a lot, and it seemed a legitimate relationship that allowed you to make fun of each other and stuff like that. So, and that's, it's like Burns and Allen. You had that sort of thing going on.
It's true.
And when you move apart and get married, it's hard to get back to the Burns and Allen show. So
It's been hard. Yeah. The Burns and Allen show, I think, definitely suffered.
Gracie's death.
Well, Yeah, that was tough to get past. And then when Burns died too, that was
Yeah, so much for that show.
um but no, our the closeness of our relationship genuinely did suffer for us being in Korea for 2 years, my wife and I.
Yeah.
But you know, we've been bouncing back. It's all right.
Good. Well, you live close by, so
Yes.
it's good to. And now you can play. You can finally play bridge with your wives in tow. None of this.
I should mention. I should bring that up. Here's. I'll just send you this link because it's fun. One of the ones with Ian's muse. But
And
I gotta.
You're sending me these via Instagram, are you?
No, they're in the private chat for this.
Oh shit! I don't know how that works. Okay, thanks. I'll figure it out.
Okay. Well then, in that case, let me at least.
Yeah, that's the thing. I
One of
don't
these
quite
is-
understand how to get them out of there, but I'll figure it out. Don't worry.
Yeah. Um, doop. I'll put that in there and see. Melissa knows BGM.
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah.
Melissa's one of my earlier, my most recent followees. So
Yeah. I was.
yesterday. I was giving her lessons side by side on
Mhm.
this thing, and it was
Oh, good.
kind of fun.
Cool. I remember your first lesson to me about that. Actually, we've never had any lessons, but you gave me advice when I was just like, "How do you do this?" And you were like, "Go fast."
Go fast. Go fast. Take a
You were
letter.
like, "That's my advice. Just go as
Fast.
fast as possible."
Well, that's the only way that you can get those fine lines.
I guess that's true.
Get the thick lines. I think you have to go fast. I don't know if there's a way to do it slowly.
To get the thick lines?
Thin lines.
Yeah.
The very thin lines. I don't know if there's a way to do it going slow. I think it has to. You'll always get a thinner line going fast because you have fewer molecules to get on the page in any given inch.
Maybe so. Maybe so.
Well,
but I
what
gotta
I'm
go
going to
make
do
lunch.
is see
I've
if
been
I can
trying to-
figure out how to get these things you sent me and copy and paste them somewhere.
Well, the important one. Oh well, actually, I guess the important one is Mr. Pillow is a cad.
Okay.
So I'll put that in.
Oh, I see it. I see.
You see him?
Here.
All right.
I
Cool.
do. Okay, so copy.
112.
Okay. Well, where did I go? I don't know where I am. That's
I
okay.
don't know
There
where
I
you
am.
are. You're in Minnesota, Pierre.
I know I'm in Minnesota. Okay. Well, Ian, you go back to work,
Yeah.
and I will see if I can. I can figure this out. Okay, Mr. These are all Dan and Steve. Okay, Mr.
Yes.
Pellet is a CAD. That's all I really need to know. I can wander around and find other ones I like.
Yes.
Okay.
The
Well,
site
thank you
will
so
be-
much for
Of course.
visiting.
Thank you,
And
Pierre,
we
for
will
having me.
we will talk.
Yeah. We will talk.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Okay, let me see if I can put this in this thing more. No, post comment. More post comment. Paste. Okay, this is the link to the Dan and Steve show thing. There's I don't want comments. There it is. So I don't know how you can get to that, you people that are watching. Let me see if I can get to it when I watch it over here. Okay, got it here. Okay, Melissa, are you still here? How did your, whatever it called, exercises go? Your loops and your swirls and your zigzags and your whatever's is. I'll be right back. I have to pee. First of all, I want to do this. I kept stuttering. You know, that is, what ink are you using? Dynamite again? I think if you use Waterman or Parker or Schaefer, thinner inks might be better for practice. I think these beautiful colors, as lovely as they are, I always think of them as being less flowing. Levenger. Yeah, try that. I think Parker Quink will work better for you. I'll be right back. Did you, Melissa, notice any difference between the first page of swoops and whatever you were making and the last page? Were you making any headway, do you think? Okay. Well, the harder part of doing this is doing the light lines. So I'm glad that the upstroke is becoming better for you. So you're making a J. J's are good. Are good. Side stroke, downstroke, upstroke. These are good letters to practice on. Well, I've been here for 3 hours and 20 minutes, and I think that's more than enough time for today's morning Pure and You show. So I'm going to say goodbye for now, and we will chat later. My fingernails need cleaning. I know that. I know that.